Hi, welcome ecopenny viewers to another eco sports video. This is going to be a bushwalk with a difference. We're going to try and find some Egyptian hieroglyphs and a sphinx. So with the Egyptian hieroglyphs there's a bit of controversy. They've been there about 40 years at least. So are they just a hoax done by some random local, or did the ancient Egyptians really travel to Australia and get shipwrecked and wrote a story about being shipwrecked in Gosford, New South Wales? So there's a few theories going around in YouTube. I'll put a few links down below to some videos about it. So I'm going to find out for myself, have a look at it and see what I think. So are these carvings authentic or are they a hoax? But it'll be a nice pleasant bushwalk in Gosford, New South Wales, north of Sydney anyway. And then there's a sphinx that's been carved. This one's actually been carved World War I or II veteran. So that one's actually not ancient Egyptian made. But the hieroglyphs, it's a bit open there. Are they a hoax or real? But we'll find out. So this is just an amazing location in North Turramurra, where you've got an actual Sphinx recreation and memorial to soldiers in the wars. The Sphinx and the two pyramids were made by the late W.T. Shirley in memorial of fallen soldiers in the wars.
So here we are at the Sphinx Memorial, the War Memorial. This was constructed in around about the 1930s. But what we want to have a look at here is the weathering and erosion on these structures, and also the lichen growth. So if you look at something like lichen, the rate of growth of lichen is roughly 1 centimetre every 10 years. So if you look at something like the carving where it says lest we forget, we can look at the lichen that's growing inside that actual carving. So 1 centimetre every 10 years to determine the actual age of the actual carving. We're not interested in the age of the rock, we're interested in the age of the carvings. And here too, someone's removed all these. So you just need to have a try and find an example. So here's lichen growth here. So if you put a measure against that, so this actual spot right there, that is approximately 30 years old. So around 1930, and you can see how sharp that is still. So if you look at this carving here, we know the date of this around say 1930. This has been exposed to the elements, there's been erosion, weathering on this structure, and yet you can still see how sharp these lines are. So we'll compare these to the Gosford Glyphs. You would expect, if the Gosford Glyphs were 3,000 years old, we would expect it to look a lot more worn than what this is, because we know the exact age of this. The other thing too, if you want to look at lichen, it appears a lot of this has been removed. So if you get an approximate age 70, that bit of lichen is close to what, 70 years old, and that sort of fits in with the time frame of this structure. So if you look at the engraving here, lest we forget, this character, the letter F, it's sort of nice, deep. You've got a lot of the material still there. Parts of this are sort of worn away. It could be just to vandalism. You still have some characters which are nice and neatly formed. But this kind of weathering, it's less than 100 years old.
Just amazingly detailed sphinx. So while we're here, there's an Aboriginal site with the First Nation Australian people relics. So welcome to this little side trip. It's a Bulgandry Aboriginal site near Gosford, New South Wales. So we're coming onto the boardwalk now, so you've got to be respectful and stick to the marked path so you don't damage any artefacts.
Some axe grinding grooves here. Got a kangaroo here with a person carved out into the rocks. Got either a dolphin or a fish just here.
You'll notice this bit of lichen here. If you look at the size of that patch there, it's more than 200 years old, that bit of lichen.
Yeah.
So lichen, you're not going to get it maybe growing more than 200 years. There's a nice big bright coloured lichen there. And the way you can date it is find where the lichen is growing into it.
But it's important not to walk in the middle, stick to the boardwalk to avoid damaging the artefacts. Quite a few interesting tree formations here, how they've grown. Got another kangaroo here. So it's a good thing the national parks have preserved this area. So you've got a boardwalk to not damage the site, so everyone in Australia can enjoy it. It's a busy site here, you can hear a lot of traffic on Woy Road. So we stopped at Bambara Road to do the trail here. That's going to lead to the hieroglyphs hopefully. So let's check it out. So we're at the first junction, so we've got to turn left at this fork. So it's a good idea to have hiking boots because there are a few sloshy bits along the trail. So about 1.3 kilometres in, we've got another fork to go to the left again. Now we've just got to hunt around and search for where the hieroglyphs are. Is there something in here?
Yeah, take a look inside there.
So this little box here looks fake, like some sort of sarcophagus. Concrete block, that wasn't in Egyptian times. There's nothing in this, it's just empty. Have a look in here.
Fake. It's what people have done.
Yeah,
Trackable code.
that's not original. They didn't have block of cement at that.
So you've got to be careful of all these boulders here. Watch out. Gonna go through this gap here and see what I can find. Oh, it's got to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're here. We found it. It's just amazing. We found it. Hooray! Almost there. Wow. It's in between these two walls here, all full of about 300 inscriptions. Amazing. Wow. Quite a bit of lichen here, so it's got to be over 70 years old.
Let's just check. We've got a ruler here, so if you look at the smallest diameter, this is 80 years old, so this would not have been carved in the 1970s. Maybe the 1950s, possibility 1950s. Don't forget the Turramurra monument was built in the 1930s, and there was a big following for things Egyptian that could have influenced someone to have done this in the 1950s.
Just don't know. So there's a few theories of the translation. One says 2 princes got marooned here on a boat from Egypt. One of them got bitten by a snake and died, so he was buried here, and that's why they've got all the inscriptions. And another theory is that there was a shipwreck. Most of them died, but only a few survived, so they made it to here and just wanted to put this here as their story about where they came from in Egypt, visiting Australia, trading with the Aborigines. There are some accounts of Aboriginal style boomerangs being found in Egyptian tombs, so maybe there was a bit of cross trading, who knows. And the other theory is it's done by a faker who just did it from pictures from Egypt, possibly 40, 50 or 70 years ago. So who knows what the real story is. But it's a good place to visit, fun bushwalk, get some exercise, and sort of in a mysterious place.
That was a bee or wasp.
Where? A real one, or are you looking at a hieroglyph? There's a scarab beetle there. Got some birds here. And you've got an arrow pointing downwards, sarcophagus here, so it's just hard to know. Who knows?
The Union Jack. George Cross.
It could mean something else, so. The Anubis here does look different. The engravings aren't as deep as these other ones, so I'd say it's definitely this one's fake. Our accounts where these ears have this extra bit done in the 80s. So you can definitely see it's not as deep as these other carvings. The other carvings have definitely got lichen all over them, but the Anubis doesn't have any lichen. It's sort of an open-ended canyon here. Just hope those rocks at the top there don't fall down. This is the top view of the canyon. You can see the inscriptions below me. So as usual, just be careful around the site. There's boulders around and plenty of areas to fall, so just take it easy. If you've got any kids with you, make sure they're under adult supervision. So you've got the Brisbane Waters National Park out there. You can see the water. Another view from the top of the canyon. This is a tree here overseeing the site. So I'll leave it up to you in the comments. Comment down below, do you think this is fake or is it authentic? I'll just let everyone make up their own minds. But it's just a fantastic place to visit anyway. So whether you believe it's real or fake, still respect the site, look after it, don't damage any of the inscriptions and don't do any of your own inscriptions. So just look at it and enjoy it. thanks for coming on this journey. Don't forget to like the video if you like it, subscribe to ecopenny to see more videos in the future, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Where all the inscriptions are. Oh, just amazing.
I have to do it again now.
What?
You put a hand over the lens.
Say again?
Put a hand over the lens.
Say again?
You'll have to record it again.
Oh, just someone... Oh.